God will use you. Let me introduce our next speaker, Jeremy Stalnecker. He's going to come up and tell us about Mighty Oaks Warriors. Jeremy, come on up.
Well, again, it is great to be here, and it's very humbling for me to be amongst all the other ministries that are represented here. John 3:16 tells us that God loves the world, and when you are in a place like this, you really understand God has a plan for the world, and I'm so thankful for it, and thankful to be exposed to it. Mighty Oaks Warrior Programs, we have several programs that minister to men and women and then their families of those who have endured some kind of combat trauma, whether it's post-traumatic stress disorder or some other combat trauma, or just dealing with military life and then leaving military life. And because of the work that we do, I could stand here and spend the next several hours telling you hundreds of stories of men and women who come broken and without hope, who collide with a God who is still in the business of restoring hope and restoring the brokenhearted. It's an amazing thing to see, and it's really awesome. But as they say, things aren't real until they're personal. And my journey with Mighty Oaks Warrior Programs, the Mighty Oaks Foundation, is very personal to me. I was in the Marine Corps during the initial invasion into Iraq. I was a platoon commander and had a bunch of Marines that I was responsible for. I included this picture today that I forgot yesterday. But it's a great picture. These are my Marines. We're at the Presidential Palace on the banks of the Tigris River in Baghdad. And I had the opportunity to be a part of that movement into the country and then into Baghdad. I took care of these Marines. There are 84 Marines there, and I had the opportunity, the privilege, the great honor to serve with them and to bring them home. And during my time in the Marine Corps, I really took very personally my responsibility to bring these guys home. Since then, I've had the opportunity to meet some parents and other family members, and it's just been great to know I had a part in bringing them home. I came home with all of them in June of 2003, and when we came home, I left the Marine Corps and went into ministry. It's another whole story for another whole day. Don't ever do that. If you have the opportunity, don't do that. From combat to ministry. The ministry was worse, in case you were wondering. So, went into ministry and dealing with my own issues and my own stuff. I really separated from the Marine Corps. Took care of these guys, trained these guys, served with these guys, brought these guys home, and then didn't talk to them again for 10 years. And moved on with my life. 10 years later, one of the guys who's in this picture called me up out of the blue. Facebook connects the world, right? Be with the third largest country in the world if it was a country. Second largest. I wasn't really paying attention. It's one of those. But connects on Facebook, gives me a call out of the blue. I hadn't talked to him in 10 years, and he said, hey, I just want to give you an update on the guys that were in our platoon. And he began to tell stories of many of these young men who had taken their lives over the next 10 years at the hands of themselves. Many who had gone back to combat and died in combat. Guys that I had vowed to take care of, guys that I had been proud of taking care of, I really felt like I had let down. He said, I met this guy, he lives in Houston, and he just started a program called the Mighty Oaks Foundation. His name is Chad Robichaux. Some of you have heard Chad present. I don't know much about him, but he's a Christian, you're a Christian, and he said if you'd come to Colorado, you could be a part of this program. I was like, all right, well, sounds good. So I went, 10 guys or 12 guys from that picture went, and again, I had been in the Marine Corps. I was now a senior pastor of a church near San Francisco, and really thought I had this ministry thing figured out, and I would go, I'd listen, and then I'd help him, right? And as I got there and began to understand what many of the men who have come back from combat have experienced, I began to understand some of the problems that I had, some of the things I had not dealt with, and God really ministered to my heart in an amazing way. From that point forward, I've been a part of the program, and this year I resigned my church, my family, and I moved to Central California, and now have the opportunity to serve full-time in the ministry. And it's an amazing thing. It's been remarkable to me as someone who was raised in ministry. My dad was a pastor who's been a part of ministry, to see what can happen when God intersects with people out there in the real world. Sometimes in church world, we don't see things as clearly as maybe others do on the outside, and all of the problems and all of the issues and all of the brokenness. And God reaches in an amazing way, and it's phenomenal. And we've seen God do some amazing things. We've had 808 graduates come through our program, and with a national suicide rate of 23 a day, and this is remarkable, 22 veterans every single day, and one active duty service member, we're told, and the number is probably higher than that, but 23 a day, every hour of every day, someone who served in the United States military is taking their own life. every hour of every day. A child who's raised in a home of someone who takes their own life is 33% more likely to also commit suicide later on. This is a tragedy, but it's a generational tragedy affecting families. With a national suicide rate of 23 a day, we, in our program with 808 graduates, have had 0 alumni suicides, which we are extremely thankful to the Lord for. That's certainly not the only measure of success, although we're very thankful for that. We have a marriage program, and with a divorce rate of between 80 and 90%, much higher in some other units, or some specific units, but average 80 to 90%. We've had 22 couples now come through our marriage program, and we have one that has gone through with a divorce, but continue to work with these families, and thankful for the opportunity to do that. Homes and legacies destroyed. We've heard legacy several times today, and legacy is something we should all live to reflect a healthy legacy to those coming behind us. Homes and legacies destroyed because of the combat trauma, and we have the opportunity to see homes and legacies restored. And again, we're so thankful for that. The question that's often asked, though, is how does that happen? How do we do that? What is our process? And really, our process is very simple. We have men and women come through our program who have been through many month-long inpatient programs. Many of the folks who come to us are on 20 or more medications a day, just dealing with really the fruit of the trauma they've experienced and not getting to the root. And people ask, how can you have the success you do in 6 days? We bring men and women to our program for a period of 6 days. Privately funded, we accept no government money, but we are the only faith-based program in the Marine Corps that Marines are allowed to come to on orders, and we're thankful for that because of the success rate. Again, how does that happen? How can you do what no one else can do? And it's a very simple process. We begin by asking the question, if what you're doing isn't working, then why not try something new? It's a good question, right? And by the way, if what you're doing isn't working, then why not try something new? We pose this question to men and women who are absolutely broken, who have no hope, who've tried everything. We say, look, it's time to try something new. We then commit to helping them understand what it looks like to reject passivity and lead courageously. You need to reject the life of laying on the ground and allowing people to step over you, embracing that position of the broken veteran. You need to reject that and stand up and lead courageously. Again, with nearly 23 million veterans in America, what would happen if that 23 million would embrace the life that God has created them to live? It would change our culture. It would change our world. We say really what we do is work to lead people to a moment of decision. The decision to get up and become the person they were created to be. It's really that simple. You don't have to be a Christian to come to our program. In fact, we prefer that you're not a Christian. Often folks will come and say, I don't believe in God, I don't want the faith thing, I just want some tools. And we say, that's fine, and kind of chuckle to ourselves. We just push them to a place where they need to decide to embrace the life they were created by God to live, and then to embrace a relationship with the Creator. And it's amazing the healing that comes. God has been so good to us, and it's all because of Him. After 6 days of time with us, we have an intentional follow-up program. You can see some of the things here. Intentional discipleship, where we'll bring them back and take them through this discipleship process. Mentorship, going through a 6-month mentorship program with volunteers, and then connection to the local church, which is so important. What is the result? What do we expect to see? You've seen the numbers we've experienced so far. What do we expect to see? And I mentioned this yesterday, and it's true. I've been mocked for what I'm about to say. We expect to eliminate veteran suicide. And the question is, how can you eliminate veteran suicide? Do you believe you'll do that? On one hand, I say, no, I don't believe we'll eliminate veteran suicide, but I do believe that if every one of the 23 million veterans in America came to our program, we could eliminate veteran suicide. The question is, how do we get to those 23 million veterans? But that's one of our goals. It's a very real goal for us, to reduce this divorce that's taking place amongst our military members, to develop healthy family legacies that are worth handing down to those children who are coming up behind us, and then to invest in building the resiliency to go forward. What can you do? There are a lot of things listed, I believe, on page 43 of your book. Everyone's given the page number today, so I had to go and find the page number. So it's 43. Apparently you guys can't find it on your own, so page 43. There are a lot of things listed there. Page 40, whatever it is, just go there. I wanted to see if you were paying attention. You are. Congratulations. There are a lot of ways that you can get involved. They're listed in your book. I would say this. We are going through a process right now of separating through the national nonprofit that we have been a part of and launching out on our own January 1st. So in addition to the things that are listed there, we are developing an advisory committee. If you would like to be a part of that and just help us look at things maybe a little bit differently, please write that down. Let us know. And we'd love to hook you up with that. Really, we say the Mighty Oaks Warrior programs, it's time for us to stop talking about the problem, to stop raising awareness, which so many veterans organizations do, and to get to the solution. The solution is Jesus Christ, and we exist to push the broken among us to Him. Thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy. It is page 45, so make sure that you turn there. Let me just pray for Jeremy and Mighty Oaks Warriors right now. Father, I can't think of even the words to say to thank these guys and gals for going over and protecting our freedoms. There's got to be a way we can get involved. And I pray that lots of people would check off a box, they would sign up, and they would support these men and women who've come back from defending us. Thank you for Jeremy, for Chad, and for the people that have the vision to help these wounded warriors. We just lift this up to you in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen. Fill that out. We'll take a short break, and I'll see you here in about 12 minutes.